everybody. Welcome to the Good Witch Podcast. We are really excited to be here after a delay. Sorry about that. Because of Blackout Tuesday, it interrupted our recording schedules, and we wanted to be respectful of the moment and everything. And so we didn't have a Good Witch Podcast last week. And so we're going to cover double episodes this week because there's been lots of stuff going on. And I don't know about you, Amy, but I am really enjoying this season much more than last season. Would you agree?
Yes, I totally agree. I am loving this season. And I specifically think these two episodes, I'm kind of glad we're covering them together because they kind of fit together very well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
It worked out good. And I really am digging both of the new additions this season. I think that compared to the additions last season, I just am really enjoying Joy and Carter. I think are really solid, and I'm surprised how little I'm missing Grace, because I love Grace, but I don't know. It's worked out quite well, I feel like.
Yeah, it has. I agree. I hardly even notice Grace because there's so much else going on. There's so many other stories that like I'm invested in and I want to know more about, that I'm not really missing Grace all that much.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. We've got basically, I think 5, we're going to go through this obviously a little more quickly than we typically do because we have 2 episodes to cover, but we have 5 basic threads kind of going on in this episode. The first is we have Adam getting ready for surgery. And in this episode, and then he has surgery in the second episode we'll talk about. So he has a tumor on his hand. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah, that's kind of the way it was understood to me. It is a little confusing. But
yeah, and I was surprised that, because what kind of doctor is it? He's a general surgeon?
He's a general surgeon, so I wasn't sure if he'd be dealing with something like that.
Because it seems like something like this would definitely have a specialist.
Yeah, I felt like maybe he would need to go see an oncologist as well. But I don't know.
Let's see, what's an oncologist?
Isn't that cancer?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Radiation oncologist.
Yeah,
and an oncologist, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they ever say it was a cancerous tumor?
Maybe it's just benign.
Or tumor. Because I would think he would need somebody who's skilled at operating on. Isn't that a particular type of doctor? Your hands?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Would that be like a bone doctor? Clearly, I don't watch enough Grey's Anatomy. I watch every episode, and apparently, I'm still not a medical aficionado. So
Sam was getting really upset about it. He was very stressed about it because he's worried about, because it's a very delicate, difficult surgery. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he has the experience evidently to do it. He's just nervous about doing it. And Adam is pretty depressed about it as well, pretty anxious, as one is like to be when you're having surgery.
Yeah, definitely. And it's on its friends too, which is like so, like I can't imagine operating or even being a doctor of a friend like that.
Yeah.
That seems like such a difficult thing to do.
In fact, I think it's usually discouraged, it seems like to me.
I think so, yeah. I know my pediatrician was friends with my parents, but it was my pediatrician. It wasn't like they weren't operating on me. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how big it was. I've never heard of anybody having a tumor in their hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I missed something.
Clearly, I wasn't paying enough attention to the medical stuff. I was more worried about like, oh my gosh, she's going to get a surgery for a step. That's where my brain was going. So,
yeah.
I don't watch Good Witch for the medical aspect. They kind of normally glaze over that. Like, it's not Grey's Anatomy. So.
Yeah, it's surgery. That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
That Sam is nervous about it. Mm-hmm. But Cassie is very good at comforting him, and so Adam is very concerned about Stephanie letting his parents know about the surgery.
Yeah, that seemed odd. You would think he'd want them to at least know. Like maybe he didn't want them to come because I don't know if he's from Middleton or whatever. But like,
he says that he doesn't want them to worry.
Yeah.
And it seems like to me that especially him being a what do they call it at the hospital?
The chaplain.
chaplain, that he would want as many people praying, as many people. I know he doesn't want the attention, but as a religious person, I would think that he would want them to know. And I think the reason why they do it though is it's sort of like a way that the script can get them to the I love yous, and that he doesn't need his family because she's his family.
Oh,
right. And so I think that was kind of the point of that whole situation. And so, yeah, I would definitely want everybody to know, but I'm a very public person. So I announce everything on CNN practically going on in my life. So
even if I like didn't want to worry people, I'd still want my parents to know. Like,
yeah,
even if I like call them 5 minutes before, hey, I'm going into surgery now. Just
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just like check into like 911 real life 911 emergencies right now. I'm going to be broadcasting my surgery.
I'm streaming it on YouTube or Twitch.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a bummer because I want to be more invested in Adam's surgery and like feel more about this very tense situation. And I do enough, I guess. But I just was enjoying so much Stephanie being with her ex-husband because they're married in real life and have such nice chemistry. And I'm like, oh, that was really fun. I wish that could have lasted longer. But now I need to be emotionally invested in Adam and Stephanie, I guess. But yeah, so that's that. I mean, I haven't had surgery many times in my life, but I've had a few. I had surgery on my eye twice, because I have a lazy eye, and so I've had that surgery twice, and hopefully I won't need it anymore. Some people have to have it up like 7, 8 more times, but it's pretty awful. So yeah, that was an adventure, and I've had my appendix taken out. And I've had my tonsils out, and I've had you know how babies have a soft spot on their head?
Yeah.
I didn't have one. And so, yeah, it's cranial stenosis, I think is what it's called. So they actually had to do surgery on my poor baby head. Yeah, I know, my parents. Yeah, they just shave off my hair and the whole thing, and it was trauma. But yeah, so the thing that's hard for me about any kind of surgery, aside from having surgery, is I get really nauseated when it comes to the anesthesia. It makes me so sick. And so I'm just a mess. It's bad. So I would be way worse than Adam. I would be very nervous.
Yeah, I've talked about it in passing and stuff, but I was a hospital kid. I went through a lot of different things that I don't really talk about and everything.
It's a weird experience. It's a scary experience because you don't know like what's all gonna happen exactly, and you're kind of just please be careful looking at the doctor.
I know.
Abigail ends up helping a woman at her store who is a teacher at a school, and she's talking to her and she's like, oh, you need an impressionist art teacher? and so she tells Cassie, because Cassie is interested in using her art degree more, her art history degree, and so she tells Cassie, and Cassie sets it up so that she can do the job interview kind of thing. And the thing I'm wondering is, how is Cassie going to be handling 3 jobs?
Like,
runs the inn.
She not have enough jobs? Like,
well, because she runs Grey House, she runs the store, and she's gonna be now a teacher.
Apparently, is she trying to make more money than Sam? Is that what she's trying to do now?
Maybe. Like, I mean, she seems to give away a ton of the stuff at the store, at least to Martha.
That's true. I would like to see Bell Book and Candles books, please. I want to see how she's doing, because I don't think she sells anything, to be honest. Like, I don't think that cash register has ever been used.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
That's why it's antique. It doesn't actually work. It's all
Right.
there we go.
Yeah. And she's worried about the interview and will she be able to do it? And this is like one of the only times we've ever seen Cassie not be confident on the whole show.
Crazy. Like we haven't ever explored that side of her really at all.
No.
Yeah.
Like she always knows what's going on. So
yeah, she always knows what's going to happen next. But it's like nice to see, because like I know with Grace's character, we always saw her kind of unknowing, and it was because she was younger and stuff. But it's nice to see that, you know, even Cassie sometimes she doesn't know everything.
Yeah, exactly. And she tells Sam, "I've never taught before," and he says, "You're teaching people all the time." So the other big plot, another big plot for this episode is Martha has her son Dylan back and his wife Claire. And so Claire, they find out Claire is expecting a tiny Tinsdale. This is very exciting.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. And they find out the baby's a girl, and they want to make everything new. They don't want to bring anything old from them. And they're kind of going back and forth. Martha wants to help. But they disagree on everything, her and Claire. They disagree on the baby decor. They disagree on names. They disagree on all this kind of stuff. And then she finally says, "I am who I am." And then finally she says, "I'm sorry. One of the things I enjoy about being me is me." And Claire accepts the apology, and they decide to work together to, you know, for the best interest of the baby.
Yeah.
And it was cute. It was a cute back and forth. I liked the lady that played Claire. I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, I do too. It was cute. I don't know if we're ever gonna see them again though, so I didn't really get that invested. Like,
right.
Yeah, because we never saw her other son again. He was in season 3, so like, yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
it was good to see that Martha's son married a mini Martha, basically. So
I know it would be nice to be able to see Martha with the baby. That would be so fun, and it seems like it have so much plot potential.
Maybe next season.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see.
But so there was that, and then we had Abigail and Donovan on the hunt to break the curse. They find the wood on the jewelry box, and it says, "Breaking a heart can only start with luck, love, and one teardrop." So that's the clues. And so, I mean, it's amazing nobody else over what's been 150 years or something has tried to figure out all these clues. I
guess no one from those two families have tried to be in love in the past 150 years. I don't know. Like, oh.
Yeah. And they figure out that love is the ruby, which is breaking, which is cracking. And then luck is the emerald. And then they need to find the diamond. Which if there was a diamond as big as these rocks are, as big as the ruby and emerald are, then people would definitely have been searching for it, because that would be very valuable.
Smithsonian level diamond. Like, come on. And like, okay, I'm gonna be a little disappointed if they're just like, at the end of it, they're just like, well, duh, it's Cassie's ring, because isn't Cassie's ring a Merrywick heirloom? I'd be like, if that's the case, I'm gonna be like, how has no one put that together? Like, seriously. But I'm hoping
Cassie I could see that though, because Cassie seems to be in on it this whole time.
Yeah.
Which, if she is, I don't know why she doesn't just help them, and just tell them how to break the curse. But anyway, she tells them to go on this shortcut, and they go on the shortcut, and then they find this old house, and there's this anagram of Deerport, and they figure out teardrop on the sign on the house, old house. And then they,
because it was a train station, and then before that it was a covered wagon stop, right?
And then they go to the clock tower.
Oh, okay, yeah,
the clock tower, and they found the magnifying glass thing, that's in the clock. And then they use the magnifying glass on the statue to find the letters, and then it's JKSSILKLBQVKLAKXJZ.
I don't even want to try to figure that one out. Like, I probably could sit here and I probably could do it, but like, I don't want to. Also, that has Z's in it. Like, what word would that even be?
Yeah. So they figure out the magnifying glass is a cipher.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where they lead us. They're at they're trying to figure out what the clues are for this cipher. So we still don't know the answer, but I guess we're getting closer.
We'll see.
So that was Abigail and Donovan. And then we have the cutest part of the whole episode was Joy and Carter are working on Martha's house, and they're doing all these things, and she keeps giving them all this advice on, like, for this date coming up. They've got dinner. I think it's for the French people because Martha's also working. We'll see in the next episode more, is working on this thing for the French ambassadors or whatever. And so Carter's going on to an evening. I forget if it was that, but it was something like that, with his supposed girlfriend. And so she's giving him all these tips all along the way. And so I got to interview Jason Diaz for the podcast. And if you want to listen to it early, you can become a patron. Patrons have early access to this interview. And he was so charming and very attractive and very great. I was very impressed with him. He was really nice. And so I'm really a fan of this casting. I think they probably took a somewhat of a leap of faith because he's a fairly new talent. And I just think he's great. I think they should use him a lot. Mm-hmm. He's really good. And anyway, I think him and Joy have a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
And I just really liked this whole thing. I thought it was so cute with her like helping him figure out the right outfit, and him when he comes down in that tux. I was like, yes.
It's such a cute storyline. I loved it. I loved it.
It was so good. And he looked so hot in that tux. It was great.
Oh my goodness, Rachel, you sound like a teenager.
Well, I mean, hey, you got it. And he looked great in that suit. And I really liked that whole thing, and, you know, what we've been seeing with them. Mm-hmm. And I wish we'd gotten some of that in the next episode, because I liked it so much.
Yeah. I have a theory for him when we talk about the next episode.
Ooh, okay. Theory. The only other thing that we had is that Cassie is starting to work with the kids at the school, and she introduces them to the idea of a mandala. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of a mandala before?
Yes, I studied that actually in school, and I never thought I would ever need to use it. I never thought it would be relevant in my life again, and now I'm finally like, yes, I knew that studying all that art history would come in handy with the Hallmark podcast someday. It's very interesting. I really enjoyed studying it. I did. It was very interesting, but I didn't ever think it would come up in my life again.
What is her main point about the mandala? She says that you have to find your own Rembrandt. You have to find your own art. You have to find your own value. Yeah. And so the mandala is a painting, basically kind of done by, or an art installation, I don't know what the word is, done with sand. Mm-hmm. And so they start to do a mandala because Joy has the stuff, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. They start to do one there in the house, and the only thing about those is when they dust them, it's always just like, no.
I know. I do think, though, seeing this reminding me of learning that, I think it would be a really cool project to do with some of my elementary school students in the future. Mm-hmm. I think that would be fun. I think they'd enjoy that, and then that I can incorporate an art lesson in there.
Yeah, and just like Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she was kind of trying to teach Martha the same thing too, a little bit. Cassie brings the ugly present to Martha, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I don't like that at all. I remember I was like that to my mother-in-law."
Yeah.
And so that was cute. But yeah, I think her main point is just to try to see the bigger picture of things as opposed to just see the whole art of things and try to make it your own, I guess. Yeah. So this one was a fun episode, especially Joy and Carter. I want a whole Joy and Carter spinoff series as far as I'm concerned.
But okay,
they're the best.
Jason Diaz, who plays Carter, I'm like, give that boy a Hallmark movie.
Yes.
Now, please.
So much. Please. And when you guys see this interview, and you should sign up to be a patron, it's only $2 a month, so you can watch it now. You will love him. He is great and so dreamy, just the best. So the next episode was actually called The Dream. So perfect segue.
Little segue there.
Yeah. All right. So Sam is kind of nervous about the surgery. Cassie's very, consoling. And then we have this whole plot of Martha entertaining the French that she's trying to get them to be their sister city, which is that even a thing anymore? That feels like something from the 80s that was like that people talked about a lot. It's like our sister city in Japan.
I feel like it is, but like I feel like people don't care about it anymore.
Well, I just feel like it's like in the 80s it was actually kind of important because you had less ways of communicating with people like that. Like you couldn't really do long distance phone calls or letters and things like that very easily. And so like if you had a sister city, like you could share kind of cultures a little bit more at schools and stuff. But like now anybody can share with anybody. You could have a whole lesson with somebody in Japan right now.
So, I just Googled it, Rachel. Do you know Salt Lake City's sister city?
I think it's somewhere in Japan.
Okay, so you actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 sister cities.
Okay. And none in Japan.
The Ukraine, Russia, Taiwan, Japan, Italy, and Peru.
I knew there was one in Japan. I remember that. I remember that we would talk about it.
I don't think Anaheim is a sister city. Oh, no, we do. Japan and Spain.
Oh, see, Japan's on it. They know.
There we go. Yeah. I didn't know we had a sister city. I went through my entire education here. Never knew that. So
yeah, I feel like that's something from like more the 80s. But Martha's really, really concerned about it and about entertaining these French diplomats. And she keeps trying to do things that she thinks they'll like because they're French. And so she has like a mime at one scene. She has all this stuff.
I feel like that might be considered insensitive. Like that might not be. Like, they had a sense of humor about it, but I'm sure there's some French people who'd be, like, super offended.
Yeah, she did, like, roll out, like, all the French cliches.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think when you go to France, that stuff is there because it's there for tourists. Yeah. But I think when you go someplace else, you don't want to see, like, your tourist stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, you don't want to see tourist stuff, like, out there as the thing to kind of identify you, and you want to experience. They're right, like you want to experience the new culture. Like they tell her at one point, you wouldn't want to come to France and have meatloaf and beer or something like that. And it's true. Like when you go.
Can you imagine if we went to Germany and all of a sudden they're like trying to talk about, I don't know, what is Salt Lake City known for? And then they try to bring out all this Disney stuff or whatever. Like, no, we're in for the German things.
Yeah. If they were like, congratulations, you made it to Germany. Here's a Big Mac. That'd be a little underwhelming.
Well, I mean, they have McDonald's there too, I guess. But
so anyway, then we have that whole plot, and that's really fun. It's it's Bois Frere or something like that. It's a sister city. And
Said it better than I would have.
yeah, and so they were going to have the party at the bistro, but then they said so Stephanie won't worry about it. No, we're going to have it at the city hall. But then they sort of changed things all around, so it's not a French party; it's an American party. And they change all the food around, and I forgot to write down what kind of food they have as the American food, but
there was like chicken wings and all that the stuff, and I'm like, so I never thought we'd see 4th of July in Middleton, but that's what we pretty much got.
Yeah.
So
and everybody loves George, of course. We all love George.
Everyone loves George. He's like the epitome of Middleton. Like, come on, he should be their mascot.
And he's given me a new dream to play cookie poker. That's my new goal in life.
Like, was that a whole package of cookies from like Costco? Like, that was a giant amount of cookies. Like,
it looked like they got the like Chips Ahoy. You know what I mean? Those kind of chewy cookies. Those are so good. And and then they're just like, I'll take you one Toll House for 2.
But like, that's the thing. Are you gonna eat them afterwards? Because it's quite possible that all 4 people touched those cookies. Right. Like, how can you eat that many? Like,
it's not very quarantine friendly.
Not very sanitary.
Unfortunately, I don't think I could play cookie poker anymore. It's not COVID. It's not COVID
Maybe
friendly.
If they were in packages, little, each one was in its own plastic baggie. I don't know, saran wrapped.
Yeah, I don't know. It's too. Maybe if you were playing with gloves, maybe.
I don't know.
It's very perilous, but nevertheless they were. And then you see George meeting Samantha at the hospital.
That's cute, and I'm glad we got Samantha back because we saw her. What was that in the Halloween movie? We saw her.
I think so.
Yeah, and I liked her character, so I'm glad we're gonna be seeing more of her. So
me too, and I liked them. They were super cute. They were flirting and everything, and it was really fun. And they end up eating sliders together. That was one of the foods. So sliders.
Another American food, sliders. Yeah.
And he says, well, we can get our sea legs back together. We can get used to this. It was so cute. Loved it.
So what do you think this means for George's wife that just disappeared? We just didn't ignore that he was married.
Yeah.
I guess she's just gone.
Yeah. And I wish that they would have more. I mean, we've talked a lot about having younger romances, but how cute is this cute old romance? I love it.
Oh, it was so sweet.
So cute.
You can fall in love anytime.
Like, I was trying to think of when they've had something like that. Obviously not a main relationship, a side relationship. The only one I could think of was in the True Love Blooms. You know, those feuding gardeners. Yeah. And then they end up.
Is there anywhere there's parents
where they're like comparing of course, in Christmas Pen Pals, my favorite, you have Michael Gross and his pen pal, which is so cute. I love that. So it does happen, and I love it. It adds to it. They need to always think about side relationships that they can add, but it doesn't always have to be a young person. It could be old couples.
Older couple, yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet. It's
super
so sweet.
Cute. Yeah. So yes. And so then we also have the surgery going on. It's very tense. Stephanie's there. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like people should just go home because it's just such tense energy, and they're not doing anything. They're just waiting. And so I feel like we might as well be waiting at home instead of waiting at the hospital, but I understand why.
Like, I saw that and my COVID brain went, no one's allowed to sit in a waiting room right now. Like, my uncle just had surgery and my aunt had to sit in her car the entire time. Like,
it's so
that's
hard.
What's going on. And like, this made me think, it's kind of going off topic. This was obviously filmed in a pre-coronavirus world. How is television and shows and stuff like this going to change in a post-coronavirus world? Like, how are we going to see hospitals different? What shows are going to acknowledge it? Like, is Grey's Anatomy going to acknowledge that we went through a pandemic? Is Hallmark going to acknowledge it? Like,
I mean, I think they'll actually be forced to acknowledge it because they just won't be able to have as many group scenes anymore in stuff. Like
At
they
least,
will be
yeah, not for 10.
limited
Yeah.
on the with spacing and everything, especially anything that's filmed right. Which, by the way, we totally saw that Mario Lopez is filming a Christmas movie today. This was so exciting.
We're getting Christmas, guys. We're getting Christmas.
So I think your group scenes are going to be pretty sparse. I really do. I don't think we're going to see many in these movies. And I think if we do see them, they're going to be mostly outside. I don't think we're going to have that many indoor group scenes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how like the medical type stuff is going to be impacted. Like, are we going to come back next, or for the Halloween, if they're going to be able to do Halloween, or for next season of Good Witch, are we going to come back and like Sam's going to be like, yeah, no one can come to work with me. I gotta,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, how can you not?
Like, I don't know.
We'll see. How can you not?
I mean, it won't infect One Calls the Heart because that was, 100 years ago. They're not going to.
Yeah, but I do think we'll have less group scenes.
Yeah.
All in all, they just won't be able to do those scenes very much.
That's true.
It'll be more 2 people scenes, 3 people scenes.
Well, it depends though too. If they do it like they're doing, the NBA, where all of the NBA players are just all quarantined together going to be quarantined together for weeks on end. If they do that with casts, like I guess they could do more group scenes if they're like you only see each other for the whole time you're filming, maybe. But
yeah, and they do temperatures every day.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would picture, because they're going to want to keep people social distance as much as possible, that we're going to see less group scenes. But yeah. By the way, that NBA idea is brilliant. That is so smart. Really smart. I mean, it helps everyone. Helps Disney, helps NBA, it helps the fans. Everyone wins.
Exactly. Like,
it's
just
brilliant.
Everyone together. That's what they should do for TV shows, though. Just like, you get a whole floor of a hotel, and like the whole time they're shooting, they're just all quarantined together. They all have to hang out. I don't know.
Yeah. If you ever heard of the reality show The Circle?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that show is like perfect for quarantine.
Really?
It's basically like they need to do way more shows like that, because it's just people in their individual rooms all interacting on social media. So The Circle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anyway, I've only seen 1 season. It was pretty good. But anyway, so Sam's pretty nervous, but Cassie's very reassuring. And then we also forgot that Martha gets a $50 coin from the vending machine. I was like, at first I'm like, why are they spending all this time on the vending machine? Like, this is a lot of time about the vending machine. And then finally she gets this $50 from the vending machine, which is the only place you get dollar coins anymore, is
pretty
from
much,
the vending machine. Yeah, pretty much.
Unless that's all they have left. Like, I've been to places before and they're like, we only have dollar coins. And I'm like, how did that happen?
Usually has a place with a lot of vending machines.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so then we have Joy has a dream about Abigail and Donovan. And she dreams that they are going to break up. And she's very upset about it. And Donovan's being kind of grumpy. He's upset about his phone. Why didn't she charge his phone and stuff like that? And
she didn't know it was there. Okay, come on.
Yeah. And so then they finish the surgery, and Adam's hands aren't responding the way that they're expecting, but they say just give it more time, be patient. And then we kind of wait, and Sam tells, I can't remember, I says sometimes silence is just what the person needs. I think he says that to Stephanie.
Yeah, because Stephanie was asking about, I don't know what to say, like, just sit there. And honestly, like, as someone who's been in the hospital, just sitting with a person, it does help. It does.
Yeah.
Like, knowing someone is there for you, even if they don't know what to say necessarily, like, that means a lot. Like, even if someone you know is in the hospital and you don't know what to say with them, and you just send them a quick text like, hey, don't know what to say, but love ya, like, that's showing you care, and that's what matters. So
yeah. Exactly. I agree. I like that they named the French diplomat, they named him Henri. Henri. And no offense to anybody named Henri that's listening, but it just makes me laugh because I loved a show so much. It was called Car Talk. It was one of the first podcast type shows that I ever really loved. And this was on the PBS stations, the public NPR type stations. And there was these two brothers, one of them's passed away now, I hate cars, but they'd answer questions about cars and do it in the most ridiculous and funny ways to make me laugh. And I loved their show so much. And one time the one brother did this prank where the other brother was in Montreal at a hotel, and the brother calls up and says, this is Henri. Henri at the concierge desk or whatever, and the parking lot has burned down, and your car is French accent, and we're all dying laughing, and he's like getting more and more upset. It was like, what about my car? And can I get a replacement? No, we don't have rental cars in Canada and all this stuff. It was
rental cars.
So funny. So I never will think of the name Henri again.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it's a great show. If you just want a show that will make you smile, listen to the old episodes of Car Talk. It's so good. And it's what I tried to do on this show, that even though I hate cars, I still loved listening to Car Talk. And my dream is that people that don't even like Hallmark will still like listening to the show because we're fun and funny. That's kind of my goal.
We just have bubbly and great personalities, and that's why people listen, right?
That's right.
Everyone agree with me in the comments, please.
Yes.
Boost our egos, please.
So yeah, Henri, he says, we are here to find a sister city, not a twin. And he's like, will we be seeing any more of George? I'm like, yes, absolutely. Of course.
George needs to be the mascot. Put him on a float for the Middleton Day Parade. Like, come on, let's do it.
Yes.
Like, how is he not a Merriwick? Come on. Like, he's the face of the town.
Yeah, I agree. And so Joy tells Abigail they need to break up, and they see that the crack in the ruby is getting worse. And then we also see Stephanie and Sam singing, which I thought was a really nice moment.
They were really good too.
Yeah,
I liked it, and it was nice that they let Adam watch also, that he was on FaceTime. That was really cute. And
it was really cute. And
yeah, biggest fan.
She's a good singer. I love that song. You've Got a Friend, James Taylor. It's just a really sweet song, and it was originally Carole King and James Taylor's the original, and I love that. But the crack is getting wider, and so then Donovan and Abigail do break up, and they tell Joy, well, we had to do it. It had to happen. So it's too bad Georgia's not feeling well, because she would be very upset about this.
Okay, I will be Georgia. That is so dumb. So why? There we go. That I agree, Georgia. I agree. So
we agree, Georgia.
We agree.
So there we go. That's basically the episode. It wasn't quite as, I mean, it was fun, but I loved the Carter Joy thing in the previous episode. That was the best. But these both were pretty solid. I'm really loving this season. I think it's been very fun, and I feel like they're just doing a better job with the storytelling. And I don't know if it's maybe because the showrunners, this is their second season.
Oh, okay.
And so maybe they're just a little more used to it.
Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying it. So we'll see what is going to happen next week.
Yeah. I hope we get to see more of Cassie with her students, because I really liked the two students that were in this episode this week. I did.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about that.
The one boy student, he was in Degrassi, I believe. He was in Degrassi a while back. But I really liked that whole chemistry, and I hope we get to see her in the teacher role more. And maybe this will leave more open so that Nick can come back.
Yeah, Cassie, we forgot to talk about that. Cassie's trying to get the student to see it from a different perspective. There's the girl student who only is looking at it from other people's views, researching, she's putting in the work. But then there's this boy who he does a drawing as his response to the painting. And so the student is kind of upset by that. That they got a better grade for doing the drawing versus her work. And basically, like Cassie is saying, you need to bring your perspective to the art.
Yeah, when I review papers, I enjoy the papers so more like, yes, obviously they need to be factual and stuff, but I do enjoy the papers where the person incorporates either why they're interested in the topic or something like that, where they incorporate some sort of personal point of view to the topic. If you're writing a paper, maybe put some of your own pizzazz into it, make the teacher laugh. You never know.
I mean, it's kind of crazy that we only have 4 episodes left.
I know. Yeah.
Like, it feels like it's just getting going.
I know. I feel like there could be so much more with her teaching, with Adam, with the whole is Donovan and Abigail thing going to be wrapped up at the end? Like, are we going to figure it out? Are we going to get a proposal? So. Like, I don't know. Oh, also, we didn't talk about the crescent moon thing, how it had to be from another family.
I didn't really get it. What's going on there?
So I think it was the Conways was the family, someone who helped him cast the curse, and so you need to find someone from that family to help break the curse. And my question is, do we know what Carter's last name is?
Ooh.
Could it? Maybe. I don't know. And maybe that's why
see Joy... if, Good Witch Wiki, if it has...
his last name.
If it has anything.
Because I think it's Conway, was they said, who helped cast the curse. So if his last name is Conway, maybe that's why he's like, getting close to Joy and everything like that. Go. I don't know.
Doesn't have a last name.
Maybe.
Doesn't
that's
have
my
a last
theory.
name on the Good Witch Wiki.
That is my weekly
Just says
theory.
Carter.
Because I'm trying to think of, we haven't really gotten any other new characters this week, and I think it would be kind of off or weird if they just brought someone in for one episode to help break the curse. I feel
how would Carter break this curse for Abigail and Donovan?
Well, no, because the person who helped, what was Donovan's ancestor's name? I cannot remember his name for the life of me. Yeah, the guy who broke up with the Merrywick. I cannot remember his name. It said that.
Oh, yeah.
He had help casting the curse. He had help from another family, which was the Conway family. So then I'm thinking, okay, they need someone who's in Merrywick, or not Merrywick, from the Davenport family, as well as someone from that family to help break the curse. So I'm thinking maybe Joy and Carter are going to be helpful in breaking the curse, possibly. Or maybe Joy is a product of the Merrywicks and Sen Conway family. We don't know that either, but theories, guys.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Please tell me your theories in the comments. The longer the comment, the more enjoyable. When it's their pages and pages of comments, I'm like, yes, I read them all. Thank you. I appreciate it.
As long as it includes Joy and as long as it doesn't hurt Joy and Carter being together. I want more of that.
I hope it doesn't hurt their relationship, but it would be nice if we find out, because the Merrywicks have always been the family that has some sort of magic in Middleton. Well, what if they weren't always the only family? Never know. That
would be interesting.
Maybe that's why he's the only carpenter in town, because he also has intuition. Maybe they're the male form of the Merrywicks. There we go.
Yeah, that would be good. I would like that. I would definitely like that. Well, let's hope that we just more Carter. That's all I want. Yes. More Carter.
We want more Carter. We want more Joy. I really enjoy them.
Yes. And like I said, make sure you become a patron. Only $2 a month. Think how cheap that is. Very cheap. $2 a month. You can become a patron. You can listen to the interview and watch the interview with Jason. It's great. And also this weekend, we have this Saturday, 11 a.m. PST. We are doing another group watch of the Hallmark movie, All for Love. It is one that you can purchase. It last streamed last Saturday, but you can get it online. All for Love. We are going to be watching it 11 a.m. PST for the patrons. So if you want to participate, we're going to have director Lee Friedlander and a writer, Tracy Andreen, there to answer questions, and it's going to be really fun. And so it was, our last one went very well, and it was great. So like I said, just $2 a month, any level can participate in that.
All for Love, right? Is the movie
All for Love? Yes. 11 a.m.
If you have
Saturday,
if you have Friendly TV, they have it on demand right now on Friendly.
There we go. Yeah. Perfect.
So I just checked because I forgot to record it also. So
yes. So there we go. And let us know if you have any questions or thoughts about these 2 episodes. I think they were really fun. I enjoyed them. And so Amy, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at It's Amy Craig. There we go.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check that out. Do weekly family movie night picks every Monday. So a lot of fun. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Podcast and Hallmarkies Pod, all of our social media and iTunes, YouTube. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that so much. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That means a lot to us as well. Like I said, we have our Patreon group and we have our merch store, which has Good Witch inspired merch. So make sure to check that out. We have all of that in the description section. So thanks again, Amy, and we will talk again next week. Bye. Bye.